Hello everyone, how's it going? What's up? We are starting today with brand new dude. This time with a green color flesh. Maybe if I focused it would be a bit better. So this is the guy that we'll be working on for the next couple of weeks. Green flesh, blue jeans, and and brown shoes. Sadly, he doesn't have hair, just a metal headpiece. So we will have to do something interesting with it somehow. First, let's start off with the eye. Thankfully, we only have a single eye to deal with on this model. So things should be better and quicker. Just a few words before that. My internet's been very wonky this whole day. So if it gets too choppy, do let me know. And we might have to cut it short, but we'll see. We are sort of getting in that very particular part of the year where pretty much anything that can go wrong tends to do so. Like, for whatever reason, just end of September and October are traditionally very shit months for me, so we'll see how that works out. And the symptoms are already showing themselves, like not feeling too good, work stuff has been progressively getting shittier. Either way, let's try not to complain about it, but yeah, so there might be a little bit this time. I will try to make it as brief as possible of a hiatus. If it gets to that point where I need a little time off to regenerate. Might not need to, it might just go away quickly and painlessly. But just based on the last several years. Kind of feel like I know what I'm getting into, and it's not gonna be great. But we'll see. Most importantly, I will try to address my systematic sleep deprivation and maintain a better sleeping schedule for a while, and hopefully that will take care of things. But anyway, just to let you know, there is a slight possibility of something like that happening. So the eye is now done, about as good as we can get it in a single go. I'm just gonna try and clean up a little bit over the screaming skull. And make that eye look a little bit more adequate. And then we can go over the flesh and sort of see how that will work out. And for this guy in particular, sorry, I will be trying yet again something new and different. That is kind of the theme of this whole project. trying things out. And it would also appear that I am coming down with a bit of a cold, so it is not out of the question that I will need to clear my throat a bit more often than usual. I will try to remember to mute the mic whenever that is happening. Still no, just a hit. Now let's do a little bit of a cleanup. On the flesh, wherever we have massive spills. Color. And see where that takes us. Oh, so it seems that I really not very careful with the application. There are quite a few areas where you can see through the coat. Need to cover these up. So the way the flash is gonna work differently for this Duster is because the base coat is very bright, unlike the previous ones. I'm going to actually treat it as a mid-tone as opposed to an undercoat. And again, unlike some of the previous ones, I will be building up the highlights first and go back in for the shadows last. Don't know if it's a good idea or not, but let's give it a shot anyway. Now, if anyone is wondering, I am definitely not holding the brush correctly right now. But it gets the job done, so I don't massively care. So far, don't really have any dropped frames. Things look might actually get a stream in. And as long as we are streaming, we might as well get some. Hey, flesh seems nice and all tidied up. For the most part. So we can actually move on to building it up. Right. So how are we gonna do that? Well, this time I'm gonna try once again to build it up with a fleshy color to highlight the green with a flesh tone. See how it works out. Probably isn't gonna do too well. But no reason not to try. I have no idea how it is going to work or how it's gonna end up looking in this case. Just playing around and trying shit out. Basically, what I think is going to happen is we're going to end up with a nice, very sickly looking flesh. Like, depending on how much flesh tone I add, it's going to end up being more of a Caucasian flesh tone with looking very sickly, very plague-ridden. Something akin to Boxwalker or something along those lines. Whether or not that hypothesis will be confirmed, we are about to delve into seeing that firsthand. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, it's to get the majority of the paint that's been collected into the cap part back down, so that when I squeeze it back in, there is less excess of paint. And as you can see, there's barely any. Is good. It is what we want, so we can sort of conserve a little bit, because it's been going a bit on the wild side lately, and I might run out of paint. Again, switching around from what I used to do. I'm actually gonna get some paint, darker color, brighter one. But yeah, I do it the other way around. Alright. Let's do it to it. Let's see what I'm doing. I don't know. Camera feels to be a bit out of place today. So do let me know if it's way off. I think this highlight is barely registering. Yeah. But let's give it a moment to dry and see how it looks. Also, I'll be trying to glaze down for a level instead of what I usually do, in the hopes of getting a bit more of a color transition, as well as keeping the blend sort of smooth. Yeah, this highlight is barely registering at all. Well, let's go over it by adding more of the tan flesh. Green and out. Because when I look at it on the palette, very not so much on the model, and I think this would have been fixed by doing two things that I didn't. First of all, oh, there we go, that's better. So first of all, if the primer was black, and second of all, if I would have gone for a few more coats of the camo green, it would have built up, be a little bit more dark, a little bit darker. And there's a result, the previous highlight would have registered easier to the eye, but that's alright. I'll just go even brighter. And you can consider this to be somewhat of a blocking stage. So it is supposed to look... Oh, it's not supposed to look, but it's expected to look a little bit like shit. Hopefully we'll be able to amend this. Through the tried and tested methods of glazing. The slowest way to do things, but at the same time for me it is one of the most relaxing and comfortable ways to paint. I think I will be sticking to it for a while. So feel free to take a guess. I have been massively painting the paint yet. Yes, you. I keep forgetting how thin these paints are to start off with. I keep adding water to the mix. I end up with something that is very hard to keep in a consistency where just a couple coats would suffice. Feel like a bigger brush might be a little bit more effective. At this stage. So let's just yank it out. Yep, much better. Hey agent, what's up? No problem. It's been a weird day for technical reasons, so I am not surprised at all. Also, internet's been kind of unstable today, so the stream might crash at some point, just a heads up. Apart from that, it's all good. So how's it going? What's up? There's blankly. It's alright. Oh, okay. Have you been putting some good hours into it? Yeah, I actually saw a notification on Steam even though I don't have the game. Nice. I also sort of gave in and started playing Hades. It's been a blast so far. Pretty tough, but it's a fun game. What do you think about the Amazons I sent you? 'Cause I'm not super into them. Like, they're good designs, but they seem... I don't know, I would have preferred them to be a bit thicker, like, just the models to be a little bit bigger. Because I fear they might be a little bit too much on the small side. Yeah, middle ground, exactly. They're not something that screams, yeah, you have to get that, but on the other hand, they're not bad by any stretch. Yeah, yeah. That is exactly my concern as well. On the Facebook page, the renders look like they're a bit bigger, but when you see the actual in the Kickstarter renders, poses are nice, yeah. I'm not too crazy about the kicking one, because that might be a bit tough to have stability on the base, but you know, might need to be pinned, but because it's a small model, it might break at the ankle. But apart from that, it's fine. Yeah. I saw below in the actual Kickstarter that they're gonna try and make more positionals for a multi-team. So you can use it for several teams, and that is probably why. Yeah. They're going to try and push for another multi-team, and that is why you probably get a choice. I like the choice that they gave you to either get the physical models or the STLs to the models, because that has been going around pretty heavily lately. You know, 3D printing and shit. And it's nice to have it as an option. Like, I wouldn't be able to take advantage of it, but I appreciate that they introduce it. I also checked out Vortis. Yeah, it is going to take quite a bit of time to catch up technology-wise, and also even if you do have a 3D printer, getting it to work right for such small models, to get the details out right and not get it layery, is still kind of hard. Yo, Snick, what's up? How's it going, man? Did you manage to get your streams out? The Loco Painters one and the Friday one? Because I was really just completely out of the picture for those 2 days. Oh, I am not up to speed. No. Oh, that's a shame. Sorry to hear that. Rattlers. I'm not a big fan. Not really a big fan. Like, you mean the beers with fruit tastes in them? In small quantities, like a glass, it's alright. But I was actually never able to drink a whole bottle, like a half-liter bottle. The taste just builds up very quickly, and it's a bit meh. It's not horrible, it's just really not something I would go for. Why, did you get a chance to try some lately? Oh, okay. I actually prefer ciders to radlers. Yeah, I've been trying to go, like, to get away from beer as well for a while. And it's kind of not real easy to find a drink, especially a summer drink, to substitute it properly. Like a beverage that isn't strongly alcoholic. Yeah, exactly. Something more casual, something that's easy to drink and won't stuff you too much. Like I said, I technically prefer ciders, but ciders are oftentimes much sweeter. And that sweetness kind of defeats the purpose. It doesn't leave you as refreshed. Negroni, what's that? Is that snack? Negroni and brandy. Doesn't that make it like a bit of a heavier drink? Oh, okay. My knowledge of cocktails is very underwhelming, so I apologize in advance. Like, cocktail-wise, I do like a whiskey sour for the summer, but like in the evenings, I wouldn't drink it during the day. Not out of any personal restrictions or anything, it just doesn't fit the bill. Campari, vermouth, and gin. Oh, okay. And what do you use for a soft drink to water it down? Like just soda? Because just on its own, that sounds a bit on the hard side. Definitely tasty, but just crushed ice again. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. Like, I got a I got a limoncello, a bottle of limoncello once, and it had the explicit instruction to drink it with crushed ice. And that was pretty much the first and last time I got to do the crushed ice bit. Not because I didn't like it, just because I completely forgot afterwards about it. And yeah, it definitely does taste completely different. Like a relatively heavier drink such as this one can definitely benefit ice, and it does need to be crushed. Like cubes don't do it. You need to essentially try and get a sort of a slushy, just to make it flow smoother. Sadly, with the summer kind of going away ever so slightly, I doubt I'll have much of a chance to try them out this year. And I can assure you that by next year I would have once again forgotten. Like, I have a very hard time adapting the food and drink to the season. It's very often that I remember the existence of frappes very late in the summer, like let's say the very last month of it or so. Same for fruits and vegetables that are seasonal. The second I remember them, they are on the border of going out of, well, style or season. I just have very poor concept of what time it is. And that's been systematically playing tricks on me. But you know. Still though, that sounds very nice, the Negroni. I would like to try it before it gets too cold outside. Friday, okay. Are you having another drinking stream? Every Friday. Nice. Alright, I will do my best to get the ingredients. If I stream, it's a drinking stream. Gotcha. So actually, let me take a moment. I'm going to copy the recipe. I'm an idiot and I forget very easily these things. And I'll try and get the ingredients Yes, absolutely. They are fairly. Google it. Yeah, okay, but still, it's in the chat already, so I might as well take advantage of that. So if I don't need to socialize on Friday, like in real life socialize, I will join you and we will have a cocktail with some minis to paint on the in between. Oh yeah, I am in Discord. Don't worry. Don't you worry. Yeah, okay. Thanks, dude. Like, I'll keep it in mind. Collaboration. Yeah, I need to check how to do the multi-stream thing. Just in case. Yeah, I think it's just a certain link, like it's a website that you can just directly merge the streams together. It's just I haven't really checked it out. I might give it a shot. Oh, by the way, did you already decide on next month's like local painters theme for a model? Not yet. Okay. Because I would like to participate, but I would need a little bit more time to actually get my hands on a model. If due to a lack of printing technology. Oh, okay, okay, gotcha. I didn't know how it works. Yeah, I would like to actually. Just for the shits and giggles. Because, like, skill-wise, I am nowhere near you guys. But still, it would be fun to just play around. Yeah? Take the bus stream for 8 hours. Yeah, that's the one I've been thinking about. Yeah, yeah. But I'm telling you, because I don't have any handy like printing stuff. Not the bus in 8 hours. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, gotcha, gotcha. The message just got cut up a bit weirdly, but yeah, I got you. No, no, it's alright. I understood. It's fine. But yeah, the only problem, like significant problem I see is just getting my hands on the model. But that'll be something to look into as well. No, don't worry about that, dude, because once again, the shipping and stuff will be mighty timely. I will try to manage, but again, I very much appreciate it, and I might actually end up taking you up on that. But we'll see how it goes. Have you been painting anything new of late? Sorry I haven't been able to be around for a while last week. Oh? How so? No? How so? Do you need a little time to recharge your inspiration, or is it something else? Like, have you burned out a little bit? Yeah, timeout. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Every now and again. It's totally fine. Right, so this is first layer of highlights done. Now let's go down into extreme shadows. See how that'll work out. Or wait, let's maybe I don't know. Yeah, let's skip directly to deep shadow. And then build up some more highlights and see where that takes us. I'm gonna drop a little bit of dark purple into this dark purple into the camo green and see how that works. It'd be interesting, at the very least. Have you had a chance to try out any Probacrills, Snake? Or are you sticking to your guns for now? I checked and they're gonna make them available. Yeah, alright. What did you get? I do need to go and get black spray, black primer spray. Start doing some pre-highlighting just to guide me a little bit. Oh, from Citadel. Gotcha. Nice. I just find it very hard to glaze with them. Apart from that, I probably wouldn't have moved away from them. It's not that it's impossible or anything, it's just I personally find it hard for me. So I needed something to make glazing a little bit easier, because it's pretty much the main thing I use. It was something I wanted to ask you, but I forgot. I was thinking about it all weekend and completely evaporated from my brain. It'll come to me at some point. Right, so let's get the purple in. That. Well, let's try and cook up.
Everyone has had too much of now. From megacities like Central to the vast and desolate outlands, nobody wants more of it. How it used to feel is what the people want, and Rememory offers us exactly that. Retros, remembered treasures,
water it down. It's possible. Let's see what we got.
Retros. Remembered treasures of the forgotten past.
Pretty disgusting color. Bit too thick.
Retros.
Gonna end up looking so weird. But whatever, we're playing with colors,
Had too much of now.
seeing how things
Cities
work.
like Central to the vast and desolate outlands. Nobody wants more of it. How it used to feel is what the people want. And Rememory offers us exactly that. Retros. Remembered treasures of the forgotten past.
A smaller brush. This job.
Retros. Remembered treasures of the forgotten past.
100% sure on this, but This is going to take a little bit more time than anticipated. Shocker. Let's get over whatever we can get our hands on. And go from there. It gets too dark anywhere. I can just go with a pure camo green and do like a mid blend of sorts. Yeah, I mean, if so far it's working well, but if I get too hard of a transition, I can go back with just some of the pure base tone to clean up. But for now it's alright. I might even, for the deepest recesses, I might have to do a run of pure purple. But I kind of meant it for the raised edges, for the raised areas, if it gets too dark over there. But let's play around a little more and see what we get. Because when I put it on, it's a bit frightfully rough. Like here, it got a it's a bit rougher than I would have wanted it to be. Sort of overdid it a little bit. Because I'm still struggling with consistencies. I think I'm never just gonna learn exactly what to do as far as color paint consistency goes. a little bit. So far, it's not horrible. So this is actually a very weird spot, like value-wise. I am sort of creating shadows, but at the same time, here and there, I think it can be strengthened further still with pure purple of some sort. Overall, it's working well, and also we haven't built it up to the maximum shadows, to the maximum highlights either. So after this is done, I want to put some more highlights as well. So it's a weird sort of in between, nothing really, kinda something stage. And I've never done it this way before, so it's super weird for me. Let's keep going. Going, see where we get. Weirdly also because even though there is purple in the green, you can barely tell the purple. It just made the green very strong, which is good for shadow. but it didn't really give it a color. Didn't change the color that much. So the shadow ends up looking a little bit flat, boring. I'll probably go in with purple. Just to get the deepest places, like this, or this, and go in with purple. Apart from that, I do like the effect overall. It's fairly smooth, which is what we're going for. At the same time, it's adding even more steps and stages. So it isn't particularly efficient time-wise. But it definitely gets a good effect going. I dig it. Going to take a non-insignificant amount of time to achieve it, which making things harder and slower is the last thing I need. So that's probably not going to become a mainstay technique. But since I've already started it on this guy, might as well see it through to the end, and then we can compare results with the other dudes and see results, like end result compared to what it needed in order to get to that point, and make some like learned lessons, take notes for future projects. Like, thankfully, the Bretonians will not require anywhere near as much, because they have cloth and armor and very little flesh. And cloth is somewhat easier to get shaded. Also, it'll also be textured. So texturing will obscure a lot of what I do during the highlighting and shading, so I can allow myself to be less pedantic. It's going to be kind of how I do the trousers here, so a couple of quick highlights, sketches for the texture, and then a thin glaze to tie it all down, like just a whole surface. and maybe just a little bit in the shadows. So they won't be as bad, I hope. What worries me there is the placement of the sections, because I'm not gonna do patterns on them. I went away from that idea because drawing patterns is gonna be horrendous. But I will section them off a bit more roughly with green and brown as base coats, and then I will highlight the brown into a yellow and the green into just a green. Probably something like this, either something like this or more accurately the pants of the Mighty Zug that I did, so not this color combo actually. So it will be green with shades of blue instead of purple, like I'm doing here. Yeah, this is technically, I don't think there can be a slower way to do this, as when you actually start stepping your glazes, like having mid steps in between your glazes, because glazing as a whole is a very slow technique, and you're relying on the fact that it builds up slowly, so you can use the same color and just build it up harsher in different places. But when you start playing around with the actual glazes in terms of steps, like darker and lighter glazes within the same direction, I think that's pretty much the slowest you can possibly go. But it will also give you the smoothest possible result. So in this, on this model, because it's just a 32 mil, it probably won't be as noticeable. But yeah, let's say on a bust or on a larger model, you will get the best possible results, apart from actual, wet blending and stuff, or an airbrush. Let's face it, like airbrushing, if you know what you're doing, which I don't with an airbrush, you can technically get it the best. Then it's wet blending, and then it's glazing. But like, you can see already how many layers I had to put. Just to get to here. After that I'll have to do it again with an even darker color. On the other hand, this is therapeutic as hell. Like, it's such a chill, very chill technique, because you just layer it here and there and here and there. It's very zen to practice it. And I've caught myself on quite a few occasions where I just get lost in the process and just keep playing around with it till I feel it's okay. It's very fun. Like, it's very relaxing to do it. I wouldn't call it necessarily fun, although I do have fun with it. That's me. Just my personal experience, and this is part of the reason why I decided to emphasize on glazing rather than other layering techniques. And it's also very forgiving, again because of how thin it is, so you have ample amount of tries to get it right. For instance, here I went way too, well, pretty much just ugly, like on the shoulder. But then I'll just go with a little bit of the actual green, of the camo green, patch it right up. Again with a few thin layers. It's forgiving, it's relaxing, but it's also very slow. So this is pretty much the point where you have to, you know, you need to decide, you need to make the choice. What are you fighting for? Like, do you want to get yourself smooth, blended models, or do you prefer adding a little bit of speed and compromising a little bit of blend? And I do say that, but there is still a lot more to it. Like, I'm not going to be able to make the smoothest blends here. Let's not mince words. I'm just not good enough to make it perfect. But we're still getting some definition. It's still decently blended in. quickly fix this up. Yeah, when they matter more. Leave this to dry and one more go and we should be good. Stage. Okay. Let's have a smooth break. After that, put some pure purple in the deepest recesses, and then move into a little bit more of a highlight. See if that'll need any smoothing, and then we're done. Brum. Yep. And technically, I think that a contrast color will roughly get you at this stage with a single coat. About the end of league, no, let me check real quick. But I don't think that they played the final, and I'm pretty sure that Emma would have announced it. I should check up on him. No, they still haven't played it. Still haven't gotten around. Yeah, sure thing. Nah, because I've been thinking about it as well, like a few times already, and I've been checking around to see if I just missed it. But I guess they have some scheduling difficulties. Technically, that doesn't massively impact us for the moment, apart from possibly starting the next season. But either way, we still don't have software for it and all that, so... Oh, which one? Chaos Pact! Yeah! And they are now pretty much... They have some curiosities about them. That would be fun. They're a very fun team. I like it. I always wanted to play it, but never got around to getting all the stuff together. Another thing I do like about what the new edition will bring is the fact that more teams will have access to different big guys, and big guys are very fun to paint. Yeah. Yeah, the thrower is useless now. No, I think he's still the thrower. I think is still better than the elf, throwing wise. And you said yourself that the rat ogre does have some more value now. But I was what I was getting at is that I'll have an excuse to paint more big guys, and I like big guys. Even if I won't be technically using them that much, it'll be just fun to have them around. I'll also look for a little bit of time to put together the Untamed Beasts for Warcry. Like all of them. and all of them, there are only 5 of them anyway. And figure out which Mordheim warband I can use them for with minimal modifications or additions. Yeah, and there's a tree man added to the nobles. Not to the nobles, sorry, to the Old World Alliance. Yeah, you can see potential and how you can build around those. Because the Mino was fairly not good option for chaos anyway. What happened to the music? Oh yeah, it's good on the old Beastman team if you're running old Beastman. Go rock. Oh, what? Oh. Well, hello. That's a nice random. Yeah, well, I think it might because Killy skills have been nerfed ever so slightly. Oh, there should be a little less murder. And also killing itself, like just on the casualty dice, is going to be a less frequent event. So we might be moving away from hard kill teams and maybe more like sturdier strength teams, just to sort of, in terms of survivability and stuff. Like the bash teams will become more like what Nurgle was. Is in more of a tar pit. Rather than necessarily murder. And what might possibly become a little bit broken will be running teams. Running teams will have a huge advantage, in my opinion. Like the four catcher human build will become very powerful. Skavens will become a very powerful. Croils will be very strong as well. If you can get all that movement 8 in the game. Because there will be some somewhat broken meta, like that is unavoidable. It's just the way things work. And I think this is the direction that it'll be in. But we'll see. As you know, I'm not a very good player, so going all theoretical about that isn't given. Okay, I'm starting to like this. With the purpley bits. Again, I'm just putting it in the deepest places. As sparingly as I can. As it is a fairly different color. Than the green. I have to be very careful with what I do with it. The whole reason why this is such a peculiar aspect is that when it comes to flesh, you can't really allow yourself to get these very rough transitions in between colors, because that's just not how flesh works. Because especially now that I'm painting green flesh, you can take a quick look at some generic orc painting, orc models, You can see how they are sort of penciled in. And that's not particularly appealing, so I'm playing around to try and see if I can get it to look good. Like, there are already a few places where could have done better. But it's gonna be. But back on the Blood Bowl topic. I do think meta is going to change drastically. I think we're going to see a new characteristic for differentiating teams. Like, they won't necessarily be Bash Hybrid and Agi anymore, or at least their subcategories, especially for the. Because for Bash you had the control version and the kill version. Agi sort of divided into running and passing. And I think that these subcategories are gonna get a lot more pronounced, like the subcategories, rather than the main ones. So the emphasis will shift. Which means that there will be more variety, which, as I've already said, I'm all for. More variety, the better. That means you'll be seeing, especially on bigger events, you'll be seeing the same team being played in very different ways. And that's gonna be really cool. Because there is an argument to be made that tournament. What? About what? Oh, sorry. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah, okay. Have a good one, dude. Thanks again for dropping by and sticking around. Sorry if I missed. Notice. Just got caught in my own word stream. Okay, so far so good, I think. Oh, okay. Not too bad. I'm still iffy on whether or not I should build it up even darker, but let's put in the final highlights and then can go from there. Yeah, I think there is more to do in terms of darkness, but we'll see in a moment. We can bring this up with some Screaming Skull, or just keep using the Pro Crow range, and if we can make it all the way through. We are at 220. A few quick highlights. Messing around a little bit more with shadows, and we should be good. Did I think this needs buildy bits? I did not. Alright, get some ivory into the mix. Some bright ivory. Okay, now we'll mix it up.
Also tying in quite nicely into the whole faded theme of flesh that I want to go for. Failed several times far this time.
Now, there is an argument to be made that maybe dark camo green wasn't the best starting color. Or alternatively, that it was the perfect green color. I'm on the fence. Okay, just not as thick. Good. Let's mute those down a little bit. Again, only more better. We are not moving away from the need to down glaze. Sadly. Kinda hoping I can get away with it. Not gonna happen. Fortunately. Oh, might as well lean into it. Not gonna be as smooth as I can do it. Might as well block it in and then smooth it out. now it's working. Kinda. I definitely don't hate how this is coming out. Bit more scratchy than I would have preferred, but that's because I am leaning heavily. Yo, Setsy, what's up? How you doing? I saw you posted some pics. You're getting back into the papercraft thing, so back to having some hobby time. So that's good. In the courage corner. Yeah, here as well. We are getting the whiffs of autumn already. Started raining more regularly and temperatures dropped. About that time now. What's the courage corner though? I like how it sounds. Oh, okay. I got you. Haven't heard of them, but I think I get the idea. Did you get a chance to have your Aikido belt? Cool. Cool. Yeah, the thing of the matter is, and I think that applies to pretty much all nationalities, most of what is getting sold today as like all of those high intensity workouts such as, oh man, congratulations, holy hell, oh that's so good, man. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. How did it go? Tell me everything. uh, just to finish up my previous thought, that all of these CrossFit type things, they are and always have been simple supplementary general physical conditioning trainings for pretty much every Olympic sport ever, and it's been around since, I don't know, the 70s, 80s for sure. So I've always been a little bit weirded out about how much popularity they gained, considering they're just physical conditioning, general physical conditioning. So it would make sense that the military variant of this would be even better received. I didn't die. Step 1. Gotcha. So it was intense, I guess. Okay, let's see if I can push this through. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah, I remember we had a decent amount of this type of conditioning, like very cardio, very aerobic exercises, and it was part of the exams as well. So martial arts in general, just an all-in-one tool, really. You get to know your body, you get to know how to push your body without getting injured. I still haven't received a call for this year's season. I've been getting a bit worried because it was supposed to start October 1st or somewhere around that time. We're basically there. Matches, Turkish get-ups combined with got a mace. That's nice. That's actually pretty damn training, yeah. Yeah, that is actually very good. It's nice endurance build up without going over the line, but it's nice and intense and quick. Like you get a quick burn, quick result. You don't spend an unnecessary amount. Sweet. 5K, is that in miles or kilometers? Heat and cardio days. Take Sunday off. Yep. Pretty much it. Okay, so in kilometers. Right. Gotcha. Yeah, because 5 miles is like a bit much. Sweet. On my end, I did manage to overdo it slightly. I did manage to overtrain. I'm a bit pissed off at myself for that, but So I kind of have to give my myself a little bit of a break. I'm gonna take a week off because it doesn't feel good. And because of the changing of the season, all of the usual suspects started creeping up. My lower back injury, called in to say hi, check up on me, see if I'm doing well. And nautical, oh my god. Oh, that's insane. Okay, why would the same, like, the same army operate in different distances, considering that they need to coordinate? Doesn't that make things much more complicated and just artificially creating more room for risk and error? I understand that the accuracy is different for the different divisions, but still. Oh, I see, okay. It is, yeah, so for nautical miles, I have heard that for sure. And I don't know, I do have a buddy of mine as a pilot. I'm gonna ask him if it's the, like, if it's the standard. That got me curious. I'll check up on him. Good excuse to call him anyway. Yeah. Okay, so I think I got this guy about as bright as I'm gonna get him. Now let's just try and smooth down these things, and we should be good for the fleshy bits. But first, take a cheeky smoke. Little bit of a little bit more damp weather, and pretty much every single injury I've ever had comes around and says, "Hello, how have you been doing this long summer?" Naturally, I would greet them without as much enthusiasm as they would expect, but what are you gonna do? Just a very weird time of year in general. For some reason, end of September and October have been, yeah, that's the same excuse I tell myself. So this part of the year is just, for whatever reason, just everything starts sucking massively. like work-wise, health-wise, and naturally, just overall mood-wise. It's just very weird. Yeah, good stuff though. Like the workout you listed, very good. I would, if I could, I would follow a similar program, but I'm kind of trying to build a little bit of hypertrophy while I'm still capable of doing that, which isn't that many, it wouldn't be that long just to get a little bit more in terms of girth. And it's the worst part because it's the most boring part. It's the short sets with the large weights, and after the workout you don't feel the same way, so you don't feel energized the way you do after a more intensive lower weight training. And compound exercises also really prep you up. Sooner I can get back to them, the better. My body just responds better to that shit. Maybe that's the reason why I feel so bad right now. Well, I wouldn't say bad, just raggedy. Are you done with the renovations and the reconstructions? Because the season's change is going to put a bit of a damper to that. Yeah, that's nice. That's cool. How far along, like months-wise, can you reliably get construction, like laying down cement or all of the aspects that require drying? Like approximately how far into the winter can you do that? Because around here, about mid-December, everything comes to a halt until mid-March, April. Just because it doesn't dry correctly, it doesn't dry right. It doesn't harden correctly. Yeah, you did tell me about the concrete ones, yeah, behind that. That's a neat idea. Right. Okay, so you still have quite some time. That's good. So, final touch-ups. Yep. So, let's do this. That flesh done. Call it a night. Oh, I see, okay. Hmm.
I don't know if we tend to do anything differently here about that. Wise.
Right. Yeah, guys.
Around here, for whatever reason, the majority of construction works and like just overall the knowledge for it is treated more like a trade rather than an actual scientific approach. Like the actual aspect of architecture and the construction part of it, especially for you know, private households and stuff, when you hire someone to do it, are treated more like knowledge that's been passed down rather than studied for. And as a result, while you do get some interesting approaches, a lot of the new stuff remains shrouded in mystery, and as a result, you're kind of missing out on what modern architecture has reached. Like, for instance, Turks are regarded as the grandmasters of bricklaying. And they use the same thing over and over again. No, what is it? Gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Just can't get the paint consistency right of these. Oh, don't worry about that. Like, there is a huge argument going around here as well about construction that's going on over at the seaside, like mostly hotels naturally and things of the kind. And most of it is done illegally, somehow naturally through corruption and the likes, is getting sanctioned by the government, and they had the guile to come out and say that these are that these hotels will be treated as, what was the exact word they used? Anti-wave walls. Internet. Did I say international? No, it's local, but it's pretty much covering the same uh, basis. So they went on ahead to say that the building of huge hotels right on the beach is going to help against tidal waves. The most absurd thing in the world. Yeah. Well, it's a very big and very... It is pretty much the place to be and the thing to do if you want to launder money. Is buying into property and construction. So the biggest money is usually circulates in that region, and as a result, you get the most ridiculous statements and attempts to justify like blatant and obvious bullshit. But this has pretty much always been the case, so it's nothing new. No wheel has been reinvented here, just standard old stuff. But as a result, we are losing beaches, and these hotels will crumble in a decade or so. Because there's no way you can make sturdy foundations on a beach that can hold a monstrous hotel. Especially not within a year or so, because these keep popping up like mushrooms all over the place. But anyway. No need to go into these details. Doesn't really help anyone. Well, sadly, I don't think I'll be able to make the final touches to the flesh, so... Again! Couldn't get through what I meant to do. Still though, I got pretty close. Let's get it a little bit more polished tomorrow or something like that. We'll be able to move on. This here needs work. This looks bad. Thanks, man. Yeah, this time around though, I am trying to do it without the wash stage and use a different set of paints and just a bit of a different color choice to build things up and down, and I'm a lot happier. Yep. Yep. I'm a lot happier with how it comes out. How it's coming out for now. Because you still get to see the color buildups and everything, because the last guy I did, the wash pretty much just destroyed 3 levels of buildup, which I spent a non-insignificant amount of time building up, so there was some salt. This time around I'm gonna try and keep that some sort of visible, and I'm gonna push a little bit more with the purple for the shadows, because I did it a bit too sparingly, and there are some places here and there I would like to smooth out. But I will keep that for probably for tomorrow. Let's just try and do this as a last, and just patch it. Just here on the back of the shoulder there is a bit too rough of a transition that I just cannot bear to stand. Oh yeah, for sure. Like, this whole project, I've just been playing around with colors and alternating techniques, and I just wrote it down as a learning project as a whole. I've been approaching it pretty freely and fearlessly. But there is still more to learn. Like, there always is, but like, I mean, like, just very close to the result. It did come out a bit too patchy. Overall, not horrible. You definitely need to use some of the base coat to tie in some of the transitions. And then get some more purple in some of the shadows. And that should be good. For now, decent. Only problem with all of that is that it takes an amazing amount of time to do anything. Like, this has been the slowest project I've ever tried to work on. I recently realized that I've clocked in 6 months playing around with these guys for like 12 models. Just because whenever you're trying something new, it's more of a thought process. You're more careful with what you're doing, and the result, time becomes stretchy. But anyway, okay, so I think we will call it here. This is as far as we got them. As you can see, the shadows are a little bit flat, so this is something that I'll need to just enforce. Highlights are fine-ish. I think they're about as where I want them to be, so not too much work left to do. Basic touch-ups. See if anyone is on for a cheeky raid. Do you have any preferences? Got quite a few people on. Mocha is on. He's doing Thanos from whatchamacallit, from Marvel Crisis Protocol. Oh, we got Rymius doing some Blood Bowl and Warcaster. Okay, good. You rated Rymius last time. Yeah, let's go again. Like, I've got a soft spot for anything Blood Bowl related, so thank you, dude. You as well. Have a lovely rest of your evening or day, whatever time it is. Yeah, absolutely. It is based off of American football. So, as per usual, keep doing what you love and loving what you do. See you around next time. Bacicolio, signing out. Bye bye.